Hey, it's Chris and Brian. We're here with a summary video of some of the third-party accessories we've purchased for Axis and Allies Global 1940 that we use. We get a lot of questions in the comments on our videos on where we've gotten these, so we thought we'd do a short little summary video on those. So what you see here are our latest acquisitions this year, just came out. This is from our friend in Toronto, Young Grasshopper at the Cliffside Bunker, who created and posted this set of cards. So this is premium cardstock. This is exactly the same type of material you get in a deck of cards. So pretty sturdy. It's got national symbols on the back, and they're useful for keeping track of national objective bonuses. You see some examples here. So for every possible national objective bonus that a country could have, he's printed out a handy dandy card, nice large lettering, makes it easy to stack that with your bin of resources, bin of pieces, and wherever you keep your money, and keep track of how many bonuses you're getting. That way you're not always having to pull out a rule book. A couple additional things with that as well, including this handy dandy game information sheet, turn sequence for Global 1940. Anything you want really in terms of keeping track of resources. So we appreciate that, Young Grasshopper. The store that we get a lot of our pieces from is Litko, Litko.net, and they have all sorts of pieces for games, not only Axis and Allies, but certainly they're among the most useful for that. And the latest that we've gotten from them are these stands. They're 1-inch Hex Stands, I believe they're called on the website, and they consist of two hexagonal pieces of plastic, one transparent, one dark, and connected by this little plastic stand rod. So they come separated. You have to put them together yourself, not a big deal. They're useful for, in this game, holding up planes off the surface of the board, which, sometimes when you have a big mess, big conflagration like this, that can get kind of crowded on the board, especially in some of those European spots. So especially when you're doing a strat bomb run, something like that, it makes it easy to keep track. And what makes these different from other plane stands is that this base is kind of designed to put a die here. And there might be other uses for it in other games, but what we use it for is to keep track of how many movement points a plane has left. Because as you know, when you need to move a plane during the combat movement sequence, you've got to remember where it came from, how many moves it has left to go before it can land. So we find that handy. What we did this game, we ended up using them maybe half the time for that purpose. Drawbacks are they're a little bit flimsy, easy for that dice to fall out. At least we're using normal size 6-sided die. I assume that if you had the smaller ones, they would fit right into that piece, and that's probably what that square is cut out for. Another problem we found with these, just in using them, is that not all of them are machined exactly the same. It's easy, for example, you put any pressure on this, it just sinks, and it's kind of hard to keep that up. Not all of them are like that. Some of them are looser than others. I think it probably would be more effective if they were machined a little bit differently, to make a larger hole on the bottom, narrower hole on the top to prevent that from pushing through. Of course, that would add to the manufacturing process too. So, you get what you get. You don't throw a fit, as we tell our kids. And I'm going to pass it to Chris, and he'll explain the rest of the pieces we use.
So, one more comment on the stands, if you're interested in those. I assume a little drop of super glue can solve the machining problem, so that's not a big issue. The one thing I will say is they are a material improvement over the plain stands we tried last year, which were the brass ones. I think we got them from Marshal Gaming, which they generally have excellent stuff, and maybe I'm just not smart enough to figure out those stands, but we bought a bevy of them, and you have to sort of glue the planes on. They don't have a separate base, and I could never figure out how to get them to stay because they kept falling off. I tried drilling a little hole in one and putting it on. That didn't work. I tore a plane up, and not very much. So we sort of gave up planes, and then Brian found these at Litko, and these were much better. I think they add to the game. I'd give them a B-. Now, these little fires, we also got these from Litko. These are awesome. I mean, they serve absolutely no utility in the game. because you're going to put chips under that factory, but they make the board look so much more awesome when your little factory is totally ablaze and you got smoke on them. And you know, they come in piece, and you just put a little glue on them, and you put them together, and then you can make your little buildings look like they're smoking all over the place. It adds to the aesthetics of the board, which, you know, if you only get to play a couple times a year, or you like playing, if you're going to play a game for 10, 12, 15 hours, you might as well go all in. And these flyers are a few bucks. I'd highly recommend those. The other thing, I think we got a bunch of these from Litko, and I think we got some from Historical Board Gaming, our different minor industrial complexes, naval bases, airstrips of different sizes. Not sure which sizes were going to work, and because they're made special, they're generally in limited supply, so we had to order them at different times and get different pieces, but not that big of a deal, because some of the bigger ones we can just use in the US or Japan and some of the nations that have more room. The countries that are much smaller, we use the smaller ones on, but these are 10,000 times better than the garbage pieces that come out of box, those little cardboard cutouts that are virtually useless. I would throw those right in the garbage as soon as you get these. We would never go back to using them. These pop, and again, you know, they add a dimension to the board that makes it look more interesting. The other thing that we got, and I think these are a Field Marshal Gaming product, you can get them through Historical Boarding Game, I believe, also, are these little chips, IPC chips, to replace the old style paper money that you're able to use. These are excellent as well. Now, I will say they are ceramic, so if you drop them on your garage floor, I can tell you from experience, they're going to shatter.
Okay, clay, aren't they?
I think maybe they are
like
clay.
poker chips.
Yeah, like poker chips. And so, I mean, you know, they're high quality, and they're like poker chips. They'll crack, so they ain't plastic. You got to treat them with care. If you're playing with 5 and 6 year olds, like you hear screaming in the background, that might not be the best thing. You know, the one thing I will say is you need to buy a couple of sets of them to actually make them useful, which is fine. They're a little bit expensive, but again, if you're only get to play once in a while, or you enjoy playing, it's certainly worth the extra expense. Now, this little chip here, totally useless. Yet to find a use. It's like the research and development chip, but since I've never ever seen anyone roll a single dice for research and development, I've got about 20 of these that serve literally no purpose. Would have been good, I think, if maybe instead of those they just threw in a couple of extra denominations, or even a 50 piece or something like that, just to help divvy them up, more utility. But, you know, those are some of the other additional add-ons that we've got. We're always looking to expand the game, either with different or new pieces. If you know of some on a site that you like, or you are making and have available some additional add-on pieces, we would certainly be interested. Just put them in the comments to the link of this video. We'd like to check them out and use them next year. Thanks.